Hello and welcome to part 4 on how to create the Netflix UI with ReactJS. In this part I will show you how to create the movie list. We are going to create a hoverable growing effect and we are going to create a navigation so we can navigate through our movies. So let's get started right away. So to get started I've opened up the development server at localhost 3000 and I've opened up the Netflix page right here. And I'm going to create the section underneath the landing thumbnail, which will be the trending now section right here. So what we'll make is a list of movies, which we can zoom in and then the other movies will fade away. And we can scroll through it like so. And we can go back like so. So to create this, I have already added a couple of images to my public folder. I have created 10 images, which we'll be using for the thumbnail. And let's get started. I'm first going to add the images into my data folder. So I'm going to create, let's see, a movies folder. And inside of here, I'm going to create a movies.json. And in my movies.json, I will have an array list of objects. And those objects will be the links to the images. So we will have a property right here, image source. And the image source will be thumb1.jpg. And we're even going to say assets/images/thumb1.jpg, like so. And I'm going to copy over this one for all the others as well. So we have thumb2, thumb3, thumb4, thumb5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yes, and I'm going to save this and then we're going to import those movies in our component. So I'm going to close this folder and I'm going to open up my components, and I'm actually going to create a new component for my movie list right here. So in my components, I'm going to create a movie list component, and inside of here I'm going to create the movie list TSX file and the CSS file. I'm going to import the normal files and I'm going to export the default function. Like so. And then we are going to import this component in our pages, which will be the browse page. So underneath the browse page we have our thumbnail, and underneath the thumbnail we are going to put the movie list, like so. And if I save this up, it will compile, and once it's finished compiling, it will reload the page, and then we can click on our profile and we'll see our movie list component being rendered right here. So next up, we are going to create, let's see, a title for the movie list, and then the movies itself. So in my movie list, I'm going to create a div, which I already have. I'm going to give it a class name of movie list container. And then right here, I'm going to create a span for the title. So this will be the title. And then we have another div for our movie list container. So this will be movies, like so. And the title will be, let's see, trending now. So as you can see, we have our title trending now. And then I think I'm going to use sections for this. So this will be one section and this will be another section. So I'm going to create a section right here with the ID of section 1. And I'm going to create another section right here with the ID of section 2. And then right here I want to put the images. So I'm going to get the images from my data. I'm going to import the data movies.json, and I'm going to import it as movies, like so. And then I want to display the first 5 movies right here and the second 5 right here. So I'm going to say, let's see, movies, and then the first 5. So I'm going to say slice, and then I want to slice from the beginning till the 5th element, and I want to map those elements and then I can say movie index, and I want to return a div, and this div will give me the movie image source, like so. And if I save this up, we will see the image source of the first 5 movies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's working correctly. And for the second section, I want to do the same, but I want to slice from the 5th to the last movie. So I'm going to say movies.length, and I'm going to save this up. And then we will see on our second one we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's working correctly. Next, I want to, instead of rendering them as plain strings, I want to use them as a background image. So in my div, I'm going to say style, and I'm going to say background image, which will be equal to the URL of our movie image. So this will be movie.image source, and I can remove it from here, and then I can apply the same to the other image. Let's see, or to the other div, like so, and I close with 2 curly brackets, and then I remove the text right here. And if I save this up, we will see that our images are not appearing, but that is because our images, well, the div around our images doesn't have any width or height. So if I give some width to this one and a little bit of height as well, we will see that our images are appearing right here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to style them. I'm going to give them a class name of movie, so that we can style the movies. So right here, I'm going to target the movie. So it will be movie list container. And I want to give it a width of 320 pixels and a height of 180 pixels, like so. And we'll see our movies appearing right here. And I also want to center them so we can actually see the image. So I'm going to say object width cover. Well, actually it is background size, since we are using a background image. So then we get this result. And I also want to center the image. So background position will be center, like so. And now all the images are nicely centered. And as you can see, here we have the first 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then here we have the last 5. And what I want to do next is I want to display them next to each other with buttons so we can navigate between those two. So I'm actually going to give the section a display of grid. So I'm going to target the movie list container, and then I'm going to target a section which will have a display of grid, and I'm going to give it some template columns. So this will be repeat, 5, and auto. So now we have 5 columns, and the images inside of the columns have their width automatically defined. So if I remove this, I don't think, okay, so now the images are growing to their full size, which is actually what I want. And if I remove the height, I think, okay, yeah, so the height is necessary, otherwise the images will be gone. So next I want to display the 2 sections next to each other. So here we have our movies, and I think I'm going to be using a overflow of hidden. Yes, so the surrounding div, which is the movies div, is going to get a display of grid also. So I'm going to put it up here. And I'm going to give it a display of grid. And I'm also going to give it a template columns, which will be 2 columns. And they will each be 100% of the width of the page. So as you can see, now we have our first 5 columns. And right here we have the second 5 columns. So if I, for example, say that they only get 50% of the page, they will only crop to 50% of the page. But that's not what I want. I want them to be page wide, but I don't want them to be able to make the page scrollable horizontally, because we don't want that. So I'm going to remove the overflow from it. I'm going to make it hidden. So now we cannot see, well, we cannot scroll to the next section. And instead of scrolling, we are going to create 2 buttons, which will allow us to navigate between the images. So on the left, we will have a button to the left, and on the right, we will have a button to the right. So in my section, I'm going to create an A with an href of, let's see, section 2. And I'm going to say previous. And right here, I'm going to say another A with section 2, and it will be next. So if I save this, we will get two links on each side of the grid. But right now it is kind of messing up our grid since we are displaying it kind of as a grid element. But if we click on previous, we will see that we are navigating to a different page. So I messed up one thing, and that is that we are going to an ID. So then I have to pass in the hashtag. So the browser will know that we are going to hashtag section 2 instead of just plain section 2. So if I click on previous right now, we will get to view the other elements. But right here, we don't have any of the navigation. So that is what I'm going to apply next. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right here. And we want to navigate to section 1. And here we also want to navigate to section 1. So if we save this up, we can navigate to the next section and navigate to the previous section with those two buttons. At next, I want to make the scrolling a little bit more smooth. So I'm going to say scroll behavior smooth. And if I save this up, you can see that we are now scrolling smoothly between the two sections, which looks a lot nicer than before. And now I want to fix the layout of our grid since the two links are kind of messing it up. So I'm going to give them a class name. The first link will be link or backwards or previous. And this one will be next. And I'm going to also add it to here and to here. And then I'm going to start them. I'm going to say that we want inside of our grid, which is in a section right here, the previous button. I want to say that we have a position of absolute, like so. And now you can see that the grid isn't being messed up, but the button is also not really, let's see, going to the right place because we actually want it to be in the center of the grid and not at the top. So I'm going to add a top of 0 pixels, which will put it, let's see, it's kind of gone right now, gone with the wind. So let's see if I can see it right here anywhere. Okay, so it went all the way up. So I think I'm going to have to say position relative to the grid. Yes, so now it will be relative to the grid. So here we have our grid, position relative. Now the previous button is at the correct place. Okay, good. And then we want to say bottom of 0 pixels. So now it will be at the halfway of the grid, I think. Okay, so that's not happening. So let's see why that is not happening. Okay, so I see what's happening. If we inspect the element, we see that the previous button does have the correct height, but the text inside of it is not being centered. So to fix that, I'm going to give it a display of flags and an align items of center. So now you can see that the previous button is centered on our grid. So that was what is. So that is what I was trying to achieve. So I'm going to say align item center, and I want to do the same for the next button, but then I want to move it to the right. So if I copy this over to our next button, I want to say that we have right here a right of 0 pixels, and as you can see, it moved all the way to the right here. And just to be clear, I want to do that for the left as well. So we have top, right, bottom, left. So this one will go underneath the bottom, and we are actually going to put it underneath the position, like so. And for this one as well, top, right, bottom, left, like so. I put this right here, and I save this up. We will see that we have our buttons on the left and the right side, and we can navigate through the grid. So that is already working correctly. What I want to do next is I want to exchange those buttons for a nice little, let's see, arrow to the left and the right. So in my movie list.tsx, I'm going to import the arrow icon. So I think it's arrow or chevron left icon. from material UI icons, and then I think chevron left. Yes. So let's see how this is looking. I'm going to put it right here, and we will get a nice little icon. Yes, so that looks good, I think. So I'm going to copy this chevron left icon over to the next link, which is, let's see, right here. And then I'm going to import a chevron right as well. So this will be right, and this will be chevron right, like so. And I'm going to import it in our next button, like so. And then if I open up the page, we'll see a nice chevron right and chevron left, so that's correctly. Next, I want to style those chevrons. I want to make them white and a little bit bigger. So I'm going to target the next and the previous button, like so. And I want to target the SVG of them, like so. And I want to say color white. Yes. And I want to make them a lot bigger, font size of 32 pixels, something like that. 36. Maybe even bigger, 48. That might be too big. 48 seems good. So now we can click on those chevrons and we can navigate through our movies. So as you can see on the Netflix page, we have our button with a nice little background color. It is a little bit darkish, and I want to implement it right here as well. So on my 8, I can say that I want a background color of RGBA 0.2, something like that, or 0.3. And you can see that the opacity is getting darker and darker, but I actually want to make it transition nicely into the image. So instead of using the background color, I think I'm going to use a background with a linear gradient, and then I can specify from which color we want to start. So I want to go to right, and then we are going to say that we want to go from black to white. Yes. And instead of from black to white, I want to go to RGBA 0.2 to, let's see, transparent, like so. And I want to actually close that one correctly. Yes. So I don't know why it is not accepting this right now, but this is kind of the way that I want to do it. So let's see, on our A tag, which is, let's see, previous and next. I'm going to copy over those. Like so. And I'm going to say background, linear gradient. It was to right. And then RGBA to transparent. And if I save this up, yes, we will get a nice transparent starting from the left to the right. So I can make it even darker. Yes. And I actually want to make it from the left to the right on the left, and on the right side I want to do the opposite. So this will be only for the previous one. And for the next one, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to say, instead of to the right, I'm going to say to the left. And if I save this up, we will see that we have a nice little linear gradient floating into our image. So this looks a lot better, I think. And we also have a nicer transition from the button into the image. So let's see. Next up, I want to make the trending title appear a lot bigger, and I want it to appear from the left side. So I'm going to give this a, let's see, a title tag, which will be h2, and I'm going to style it. So right here we have our movies, so I'm going to put it above here. The title, and I want to say font size of 24 pixels, something like that. Yes. And I want to move it from the left, so padding left is 40 pixels, I think. Or how much did we move the description from the left? It was on the, let's see, the browse.tsx, I think. Yes. So let's see, we had a left of 80 pixels. So this will be 80 pixels as well, like so. And then let's see, what I want to do next is I want them to move a little bit upwards, so they are like showing inside of the image. So I'm going to do this by giving a negative margin on the top of our movies. So I'm going to target the movie list container. I'm going to give it a margin top of minus 100 pixels, like so. And then I want to give it a position of relative, so that our title is going to stay on top of the image. So now it looks like this. And what I want to finish up with is I want to make the images become bigger when we scroll over them or when we hover over them. So to do that, I'm going to target the images. Let's see, we have our movies, and I'm going to be targeting a single movie. And I want to access the hover element or the hover selector. And then I want to say that I want a cursor of pointer, like so. And then next I want to make the movies a little bit bigger when we hover over them. But before I'm going to do that, I want to give a little bit of margin to each movie. So as you can see on the Netflix page, the movies are a little bit separated by a little bit of margin. So on my movie, I'm going to give a margin vertically of 0 pixels and horizontally of I think 2 pixels, like this. And now you can see that we have a little bit of spacing between the movies. So on my movie, I'm going to give a margin right here, 0 pixels and 2 pixels. And then I want to increase the size when we hover over it. So I think I'm going to go with a transition or a transform. So I'm going to say transform, scale, and then 1.2. And as you can see, the movie is growing a little bit when we hover over it. But now I want to transition this grow in size, so it looks a little bit nice. So right here, I'm going to say transition. And the thing I'm going to transition is the transform. And I'm going to transition it by 100 ms. And I want to say ease in out. And if I save this up, we'll see that our movie is transitioning a little bit too fast. So maybe 200 ms. Yes, so that looks a lot nicer. So now we have our movies getting a little bit bigger, but we also want the other movies to fade away, and we want our movies to, like as you can see, the height is getting cut off. We want to fix that as well. So to fix the height of the image, I'm going to give the section a vertical margin. So let's see, we have our section right here, and I'm going to give it a underneath here margin of 40 pixels and 0 pixels, like so. And then when we hover over a movie, we can see that we have the space which we need for the movie. And next I want to make the other movies fade a little bit more away when we hover over a movie. So I'm going to add a little bit of margin to that one as well. So I want to say 0 pixels vertically and something like 40 pixels horizontally. So now you can see that the other movies are moving a little bit away. And next I want to transition this margin. So in a movie, I'm going to say, let's see, transition and transform, and also the margin. And I'm going to do that also by 200 ms, ease in out, like so. And as you can see, the other movies are now moving a little bit away when we hover over the selected movie. But as you can see, the first movie is moving on top of our arrow. So that is something we might need to fix. And I think I'm going to do that by giving the arrow a z-index of 1, so it will always stay on top. So we have our previous, and that will get a z-index of 1. Let's see, yes, so now if we hover over a movie, we can still select the arrow. And I'm also going to do it for the next arrow, just to be sure that that won't happen to that one as well, like so. And now we can navigate through our movies, and we can also hover over them. So this looks actually really cool. And to finish it off, I want to add a title to the movie. So in the div that I created right here, we can put some text, and I'm going to add a h3 tag to it, and also to the next one right here. and then we can give it a title. So for example, say movie title, and then right here also movie title. Now if we hover over movie, we'll see the movie title, but as you can see, the movie title is always visible. So for example, you want to only show those items when we hover over the movie. To do that, I'm going to add a class to our movie. So let's see, this will be the title, and this one as well. And in my movie list, I'm going to target, let's see, the movie and then the title. So somewhere right here we have targeted the movie, and then I want to target the title, and I want to say that we have an opacity of 0. And then when we hover over movie, I want to make the opacity 1 for the title so that we can see it. So I want to target the title, and I want to say opacity of 1. So right now we won't see any of the titles, and when we hover over movie, we are still not able to see them. So, well, I made this an object and it is actually a class. So right now, yes, we are seeing the movie title. So that's already working. What I want to finish off with is I want to position the title. So I think I'm going to give the movie a relative position, so we can position everything inside of it absolutely. So the movie title can then get a position of absolute, like so. And then we can give it a left of 0 pixels. And for some reason this is not totally working out. Let's see. If I inspect the element and I get to the movie title, we have this one and it is positioned absolutely, and the div is right here. Okay, so why is it not applying the correct position? We have a padding left of 80 pixels because we have added that to our title. Okay, so let's see. Above here we have also added a title because this is the title of the movie list container, and I only wanted to do this styling to the direct child of the movie list container. So because we named this title, this was also getting the styling of this one. So by doing this, the arrow selector, it only selects a child 1 level deep, which is this one, and this child, which is right here, is a lot more levels deep. To be exactly, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 levels deep, or maybe even 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels deep. Yes. So that won't be affected by this one because it will only target childs for 1 level deep. So as you can see, now we have our nicely positioned title, and I can say a bottom of 0 pixels. And then I can position it absolutely by, for example, saying we want to move it a little bit from the bottom, so maybe 50 pixels or 40 pixels, and then a little bit from the left by, let's say, 20 pixels. And then we have our movie title appearing right there. So you can do lots of cool stuff with this. You can add, for example, a description, maybe a rating, the match, how many seasons, the categories, the buttons and everything. But what I'm going to show you is how you can make an abstract object of it. So you can reuse that object for every movie that you are going to create. So right here, we are creating this div, but this is actually exactly the same div as we are creating right here. So this is code redundancy, and that is not what you want. So to fix that, I'm going to create a new file, which will be movie list, and then maybe movie. Maybe not the best naming, but it's clear. So movie list movie, and this will contain the code for our movie list movie. So right here, I'm going to import React. I'm going to import movie list movie.css, and it should be with a capital M, like so. And I'm going to export the default function. And then I want to return the code inside of here. So I want to return this div, and I want to give this function a parameter of movie. So I'm going to say export interface, well, just interface actually, interface props, and then it will get a movie of type movie. Okay, so like we did with our, let's see, profiles, we want to create a model for our movie. So I'm going to create a new folder, which will be movie. And right here we have a movie.ts. And inside of here we are going to define which properties a movie will have. So right now a movie only has an image source, which is of type string. And now I can use this model to use in our movie component. So I can say that this is of type movie, like so. And then right here I can say that we expect a movie which is of type props. And now it will recognize the movie which we have created, because this is now a model which has an image source. So right now if I type the dot, it will recognize all the properties. And next up I want to use this movie right here. So instead of returning the elements which we have created before, I want to return a movie list movie. And then I have to pass in the variable, which will be, let's see, if it will start to complain about it, I hope. Yes, so it will expect a movie, and then we can pass that in like so. So if I save this up, this is for the second section. The first section will show us normally, and then the second section will also show, but we have fixed the components for it. So now it is showing as a separate component, which is a lot nicer. So I'm also going to be applying this right here, and we will go from 47 lines to 42 lines. So that's 5 lines of code removed. So that's a lot better. And right now you don't have to edit them in 2 places. You can just go to your movie list movie and you can edit everything that you want right here. And to finish this off, I want to move all the movie list movie styling to its own CSS file. So right here we have our movie list, and I want to, let's see, target this, since this is from the movie, and I want to move this into the movie list movie.css, like so. And I actually want to remove, let's see, everything before here, like so, and like so. Yes. So now we have the styling for here, and if we refresh the page and we click on our dog, which is loading, yes, so we click on our dog, we'll see that we have all the movies appearing. They are hoverable, they will show a title, and we can navigate to the next section, and then we can navigate to the next section, and it will go back to the previous section. So this is working correctly. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you could follow along. Leave a like or a comment down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.